What a good night. Next.
No, it was certainly not a good night here in Santa Clara for the Arizona Wildcats as the Oregon Ducks prove they are the Pac-12 champion with a decisive 51-13 win. I'm Eric Sorensen, Sports 360 AZ. I'm along with Jared Cohen, Sports 360 AZ. And Jared, I guess we can start with the fact that in the first game, Nick Wilson sort of had his coming out party for U of A, and tonight the Ducks defense completely shut him out.
He certainly did. He had a great game that day, and part of what made U of A so good back earlier in the season was the execution of the offensive line, and Anu Solomon was clicking, and everything offensively was clicking. It was the opposite today. The offensive line was just getting dominated by Oregon, who wasn't even really blitzing that hard. They were sending 3-4-man rushes and were just pounding through the offensive line and getting into Anu Solomon and knocking out that inside run for Nick Wilson that he couldn't execute and get out into space and make some things happen. So he was really a non-factor. He had -6 yards rushing total for the Wildcats in the first half of that game, and Nick Wilson just couldn't get anything going, and because of it, 5 consecutive 3-and-outs for the Wildcats to close the first half.
And truth be told, it was a pretty sloppy game on both sides tonight. But one thing, the Arizona defense, when they absolutely had to, just couldn't get off the field.
They couldn't, and we talked about it just the day before the game, that a key for Arizona is for their offense to stay on the field so their defense plays less plays against this high-powered Oregon offense that has, who I think is going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, we saw what Marcus Mariota did tonight, and we'll talk about that more shortly, but you have to keep the offense off the field. And with the amount of 3-and-outs that Arizona kept possessing, they couldn't stay on the field offensively. This defense did a great job of hanging tough. They forced 2 field goals in the beginning. They forced a missed field goal, not converting on a 4th down. It was a 6-0 game until late in the second quarter. They had their shot, but since the offense couldn't get going, the defense was gassed, and by the end of the first half, it was showing that they were gassed. All of a sudden, they're down 23-0, and the rest is history.
And you mentioned Marcus Mariota. There's a reason he came back to Oregon. This was one of the reasons he came back to Oregon tonight. For the most part, he played lights out.
He's just a stud. I mean, yeah, the offense you mentioned, it wasn't perfect for them. They had a lot of penalties, especially on that offensive line that is pretty uncharacteristic for them. But some of the ways that he just extends plays and receivers just know where to go because they are so on the same page with him. And he was able to create so many things out of nothing. And then it's those types of things that are just incredible. And then his ability on the zone read to just fake everyone in the building out. He did that on his first 2 touchdowns of the first half. The guy's just a stud. He's unbelievably deserving of the Heisman Trophy. And if he keeps playing like this and Oregon's defense plays like this, I can't see them losing in the playoff either.
Just for a minute, let's keep things in perspective for Arizona. It's been a great year. They were picked to finish 4th in the Pac-12 South. They won the South, made it to the championship game. Just talk about what the season's been like.
10 wins. I mean, 10 wins in their 3rd year under Rich Rod is so much to be proud of and excited about going forward when you see that Anu Solomon, Nick Wilson, Caleb Jones, Scooby Wright, all young, going to be back next season. Yeah, you can't say they didn't deserve to be here even though they got blown out tonight because the Pac-12 South was crazy and Arizona was the last team left that was there, and they grasped it and they took advantage. So they deserve to be here. Unfortunately, it wasn't the outcome for them, and they have a lot to be proud of, and they'll play in a very good bowl game as a result.